Haha. Success. I know what I'm doing, really.
Yes. You're an old hand at it.
Uh-huh. Certain order things need to be done, and sometimes if it's not done properly, just... Anyway. Episode 7. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Cypher, what happened last time on Pariahs?
It's alright. I mean the pretzel.
Ooh.
It's in my teeth. But what happened last time was minus Teresa, who returned to the folly to do unknown things that we'll find about later. We all took our how should I phrase it? Prisoner? We'll just go with prisoner. Yeah, we won't get flowery. Our prisoner, the remaining mercenary that was sent to attack our fucking shipments, back to the tank table. Not gently, if I recall. I do believe Dorian basically dragged the man either half unconscious or mostly unconscious, shackled through the streets, all the way back to the tank table.
That tracks, yes. Drag him through the street like the garbage he is.
Pretty much. And when we got there, we thought, oh, we'll go in the back door. We'll go the canal entrance. Because, you know, we're dragging a prisoner. And, you know, the place has been under surveillance. And we get there, the place has been fucking in a fight. Seemingly, they got attacked at the same time as the shipment by a separate group. They didn't fare as well as we had. Evidently, as our good friend fucking Talbot said, he was like, wait, you guys killed 8? And we're like, no, we killed 7 prisoner. He's like, well, fucking I lost half my fucking guys to 6 of them, and we only killed 2 and 4 ran off. We're like, okay. I mean, we got the bodies somewhere to proof, but sure. And he's like, okay, well, fuck me, I guess.
Yeah.
We had a chat with him about some stuff and the things. Discussed raising his ranks and maybe helping him in the future, just so he could maybe funnel funds in his direction for more help. As with him being lower on the totem pole and lesser on the scale of importance, he had to, you know, there's only so much he could do. But then it turned to, for now, let's just lay low and pretend we'll make it look like, you know, we've getting the fuck out of the Dodge. Can I burn down your place? And Garrett's like, yes, but I will retain the land, and I'm gonna rebuild on it. It's mine. And he was like, that's fair enough. Can't exactly say no when I'm proposing to burn the place down, so fair enough. And then we left. Vanya left a little petrified toad, as you can see in his little chat box. Easy. Just to keep an eye on, see what's going on, see if there are any shady business going on. Probably they're a shady company. If they're not doing shady business, I'd be like, hey, something shady about that.
Yeah.
And then we're like, yeah, well, we've got this letter, and then apparently we invented the magical mail bomb.
That's the thing.
Because that's the thing. We haven't used it yet, because Garrett was like, hold on, let's try and talk first. And Dorian was like,
yeah.
Along a long enough timeline, everything becomes a war crime.
Yeah, we've invented, dark fantasy glitter bombs.
Yeah. Garrett wanted to talk to him first, so we sent off a first message being like, meet here at this time alone. Because he wants to try diplomacy first. Maybe. We'll find out. So we set a meet for, 24 hours later in Momstown in a scorched field left by the Purge.
Yep.
Dorian followed the mail, however. He's like, let's see where this is going. Turns out it's exactly where we thought it was, more directly to their headquarters in the coin floor. I bet there's lots of civilians in there.
It's only a war crime if it's a war.
Yeah, true. No declaration of war, And then we were kind of getting things in order, setting up our fucking calendar because we have so much fucking shit to do and so much stuff coming up.
Yep.
All in a row. So we kind of had to. We realized that we've got a meeting coming up with the Countess.
Yep.
And we were like, well, we can't go in peasant clothes, and we can't. I'm not fucking walking to the Lantern District. We should get a ride. So we went to the coin floor to pimp ourselves out with some stuff. And Vandy was like, well, we'll go see my Bezzy. And, well, that worked out. She's got a car. She's getting a beast of burden to pull it. God help us all. It could be anything. I'm going to put my bet on a crocodile.
Yeah.
Something like that. Something silly. But we got a ride and some pimping clothes. And I do believe Vanya's got a date.
Like, a bestie outing.
Sure. So yeah, there's
that's where we ended it, right?
There's 3 things on the agenda basically. Now, I believe the merchant guilds wanting documentation and information on the Bloodshots, the first issue on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Followed by, or what were the 2 afterwards? The meeting with the Countess Vulpescu, and you just said it.
And the meeting with the Merchants Guild.
And the meeting in the Merchants Guild in Malmstown, correct? Yes.
The meeting's before Vulpescu, right?
Meetings before Vulpescu, yes, but not before the merchant guilds, head towards the administration office for documentation. To start their investigation into the Bloodshot, their official investigation, should I say. Obviously, they've been doing some investigating covertly.
It's not going well for them.
But it's not going well, no. So yeah, with that said then, we will pick things up with Reza.
Yes, darling.
What have you been up to? Because you fucked off last we knew.
I did. Well, IRL, I was dying. I'm not dying anymore.
Good.
So that's good. But in character, Reza has been working on a project. And given the tactics she had seen the Merchant Guild using in that whole Telva fiasco, she thought it would make sense to go home and immediately and continue working on the things she's been working on.
So I imagine this is in the depths below the Shadowed Circle, in your private chambers, or?
It is, to start. So she has been, I think I mentioned a week before last, she's got this cat statue that she carved. And it's very lifelike looking. And she's kind of been carrying it around with her. Kind of talking to it, mumbling to it in abyssal now and then. So, and this is something she's kind of been working with Cypher to try and figure out. There was another step that needed to happen with this cat, and that was it needed to be inscribed with, we'll call them words of power or instruction.
Okay.
In abyssal, in her own blood. So since she had just had a full meal and she was feeling good, she fucked off home and was working in the lower levels, pricking a finger and carefully inscribing words on her cat.
Roll me an Arcana check, please.
Okay.
Let's see how well. 14? All right. It didn't take you long at all. Pretty much first attempt. It's not one of those things where you had to prick your finger right in blood, fuck it up, do it again, so on and so forth. So yeah, you've studied, you've listened to Cypher, you've read through books that were siphoned off from the coroner's archives along with various other means, and you nail it first try.
So she kind of sits back, and this took a few hours to do. She kind of sits back and inspects it, like lets it dry, and kind of cleans herself up, refreshes, and then she takes the cat, and she has carved it with its mouth open, and two, like, its sharp incisors showing, and they are filed to needle points. So then I would say, what time of night, or what time did we finish the
ambush? It was late. It was around
Yeah.
about 3-4 a.m. by the time it was all over, and you were back.
Okay, so I would say, like, she did her little bit of sleep she has to do, and now this is like first thing in the morning.
Sure.
She's got the cat under her arm, and she's about to go walk around the folly and talk to everybody who works there.
Okay. So is this before they get back, or is this, you know, in? Do you want to sort of bring the times back together now on the new day?
We can bring the times back together
All right.
now.
So, with you spending what you thought was just, you know, a few hours actually turned into pretty much the entire day of you messing around with the cat, and eventually, because at some point you did go upstairs, got a drink from Alistair.
Oh yeah, rehydrate. Yep. Yep.
Before continuing on. Now, I think we ended with a short rest last time, with now being the new dawn, the day where the Merchant Guild are supposed to be making their appearance at the administration building. So with that, everyone, what are we doing?
Cypher will be in the Thorn Room with Garrett, just chilling.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's happening in the Thorn Room? Let's say go on, Reza.
Sorry, just so I can understand the time. So this is after they've done everything that happened last episode, and it's like
Yes.
evening the next day?
Yeah.
Okay. And I've been working on this all day, so I'm like
Yes.
just about to emerge. Got it. Okay. Michael.
No, it's all right. So, Garrett, Cypher, what's happening in the Thorn Room at the moment?
Not a huge amount, really, because I don't need to make any bloodshot, because we're not moving any.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My garden grows pretty much on its own, because there's a massive sentient plant looking at it. So we're just running through, basically, what we've got coming up. The meeting with the Merchants Guild.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm saying that it'd probably be best if I go on my own as our thing, because I can link with the party and form them in the conversation.
Cypher's still adamant that he doesn't like you being out in an open field on your own, so the idea of burying two undead in the field, it's an option, you know.
I mean, if you're happy to do that,
I've never been buried before.
have to be shallow though, so you can get out.
Well, I wasn't
Reza's gonna
dig
knock
a-
on the door. Sorry.
Speaking of the undead,
Elias's roots will pull back immediately as as the first knock hits the door. Elias's roots are already pulling back for you, Reza.
Thank you. She walks in holding the cat, looking like slightly like wild-eyed, like she's been focused for so long, and she just walks over and like holds it out, like as a kid to show Cypher the cat.
it's very nice.
It's ready.
Is it?
Almost. What was that about being buried?
You don't need to breathe, right?
Only when I want to talk.
That's how I know you're dead.
That's 1 point for you.
Yep. Garrett has a meeting, or is going to a meeting in an open area, and I don't like the idea of him being on his own. Ergo, the dead people being buried.
I think that makes sense.
Shallow grave, though, Garrett pointed out.
I've never been buried before. That'll be novel.
Digging your own grave.
Literally.
That's how I know you're dead.
There's 2 points for you.
Then it's settled.
Okay, the dead people can bury themselves close to where the meeting will happen. The alive people will be out of sight.
I'm sure we can hide them in one of the old burned out buildings, not too far away.
Yes, because I'll be out in the open in the middle of a field, obviously with my face covered.
Obviously.
We will tell them nothing of what they want to know, really.
Okay, just there to antagonize them, are we?
Well, I want to see who they're going to bring, really.
Who are we meeting?
Oh, that's right. You've been carving a cat. Also, why isn't it moving yet?
Well, I've not. I got one more thing I need to do. I suppose. Well, we can talk about that question later.
Okay. We've sent a letter to the Merchants Guild for a meeting.
Oh.
You remember the box with the letter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Vanya copied their system.
Oh, good.
And Garrett just
Reverse
wiggles his fidget and goes, magic.
Gee.
Also, keep an eye on Dorian. He has interesting ideas.
Okay.
So we've sent a message to the member of the Merchants Guild that have sent the mercenaries at us, demanding a meeting. And we'll see if they turn up. See how desperate they are for knowledge of the bloodshot.
Interesting.
And we've shoehorned that little venture in between. Seems to be a multitude of other tasks.
Speaking of, in your room, in the folly, you know, your old room, there's a dress.
What? My old room?
Yes.
Wait. A dress?
Yes, a dress.
For what?
For looking nice. That's what dresses are usually for, right?
Okay. What?
The one you ordered from Vanya's friend.
Did Vanya have her change anything?
No, it had already been dispatched before we got there.
Oh, okay.
Should be however you ordered it, I presume.
Excellent.
Yes, that will be for when we have the other meeting with the Countess.
Oh, okay, yes, it will be perfect for that, I think.
Not showing off too much neckline, I hope.
Just enough.
How much is just enough to a vampire?
You'll find out.
It's fair enough.
I suppose just enough would be the width of the fangs, but
You haven't seen the other two on your way up here, have you, Rez?
No, I've literally just come out of the below to up here with the cat.
Fair enough.
you know your cat does seem a little, what's the word? Petrified?
It's still a work in progress.
When you said cat earlier, I expected some furry little creature.
It will be that. just don't rush me. It's the first time I'm doing this, and we've worked it out. It should work, but
Is that why you're holding off activating it?
well, one, I'm a little nervous, and two, I think I want to sort of build into it a way to identify if somebody who works for us is not who they say they are, but I think I need a drop of everybody's blood to do that.
Okay.
So,
Now?
well, I guess the question is, do I ask everybody to prick their finger on a stone cat's tooth, or do I ask everybody to let my cat bite them?
At that time, Vanya's gonna come pushing through the door. Good morning!
You should definitely let it bite them. And he points towards Vanya.
Right, that will be much more satisfying. Okay, well, I guess. Okay.
I see that you have your stone pet. I have mine too. And she holds the toad out. Mine returned to me. Can yours do that?
Yes.
Oh. I thought mine might have been special.
Rosa just looks slightly smug and winks at Cypher.
I'm not interrupting anything, am I? I have some news.
You do? Do tell.
Well, I may have fell asleep reading the mage's tome, grimoire, or whatever you want to call it, studying that. And my dear friend here, I think I should call him Mr. Toad until I can come up with a better name. I don't know. You guys got any names for him? No?
Mr. Hibbert.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Theodore Toadington III.
that's a mouthful.
I love it.
I need something quick.
You can call him Ted.
Does Ted talk?
Well, Ted shows me things. He doesn't, per se, have conversations with me.
Oh.
Are you going to tell us what I showed you, or...?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking about all those new things I learned from reading the grimoire, from that book that I got.
Wait, before you start, is Dorian around, or has he already left?
Tiddling read. I don't keep tabs on Dorian. You know, we don't see eye to eye on how things should be ran, so I haven't been hanging out with him very often.
I lean back in my chair and say something in Druidic to Elias.
All right. Dorian, are you on the premises?
Yes, Dorian is in his upstairs room.
So, what's Dorian doing at this moment in time?
He is still rousing himself from the early morning because they were up kind of late and just going over things, stretching out, just kind of waking up.
Mm-hmm.
He takes a lot of the time to do that ever since he started down this new path. So he just likes to take his time with every little indulgence he can.
So, in the silence of the upstairs chambers of the Folly, you will begin to hear one of the beams creak, and through a small crack in the wall, a single root begins to protrude out. It stretches 1 foot, 2, 5 over towards you, and then just begins to prod at you on the bed.
What is it, Elias?
The root stands up straight, and then just at the tip, hooks round and points downwards to the floor.
Very well. I'll be right down.
With almost like a little salute, the edge of the root just, salutes you and then begins to retract back into the wall.
All right, so Dorian's going to start getting ready for, like, putting his clothes on, his common clothes to go about typical daily business, which won't take him very long, then he'll head down.
Meanwhile, Garrett, in the throne room, there would be the groaning and creaking of vines as in Druidic. Elias makes you aware that Dorian will be on his way shortly.
Oh, so we have a little time. Okay, so I need to set some things up to be able to show you. We need a setting. We need like chairs and a table.
Well, luckily we have an entire underground bar. Empty at this time of day.
It's a good idea. Let's relocate. And she's gonna march out of the room ahead of them to kind of set up like a little staged area.
Have either of you two got any idea what she's on about?
No.
None. No.
Okay, smiles on, let's go.
Very good. Simon puts on a fake smile.
I'll be up in just a moment. And then Reza will, in the throne room, she'll just place the cat down on the floor, place a finger on its nose, and speak 6 words in Abyssal.
Okay. So whilst Reza's doing that, Dorian's on his way down. Cypher, Garrett, you cross the corridor into the shadowed circle bar. What do they see, Vanya?
They're gonna see everything else is like completely scooted over to the side except for 2 chairs that are set around this table with drinks.
Just 2 chairs.
Just 2 chairs. Now, Cypher, I'm gonna need your help in telling this story.
How am I going to do that?
I need you to look like Telba.
So if I click his tongue, and he goes, "Why?"
Just do it. It'll be, you've never done it before. It'll be character building for you, right? But it's the best way to let people see what I saw. It's like a
Fine.
play.
Fine. And reluctantly, Cypher will slowly change into Kelva.
All right. Take a seat. Take a seat at the table.
And Cypher will sit at the table.
Wait, that's the wrong one. You need to be at that one. That's not where he was sitting. Sit over there.
Fine.
During this rigmarole, Reza walks in with a sleek black cat following her.
Oh god, it does work.
Yes, it worked.
Mine doesn't look real like that, except for when I rub it.
It's literally a black furry cat. What doesn't?
No, I'm mine. My toad, my frog,
Dead?
Ted.
Yeah, shame about that.
It's because Ted's petrified.
Well, at least Ted is small, and I can carry him in my pocket.
Very true.
Where is everyone? We have to get. Okay. And she goes and she starts sniffing the tankards, and she's like. She switches the drinks. She's like, this is the drink that he had.
Okay, I'm not drinking this, by the way.
No, but you.
I'll pretend, yes.
Oh, okay.
Theatrics.
Yeah. Okay.
So what's happening up here?
Theatre, darling. Theatre.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna tell you what I learned.
Okay.
At this point, I would imagine Dorian finally steps in. As Vanya stood there thinking.
Yeah, Dorian's gonna wander in. He's got his he doesn't have his jacket on, but he has the rest of his ensemble, and he's got a bowl of the porridge that was bubbling away in the kitchen on the way down. So he's got something to fuel up on, and he's just kind of he trudges in and leans against the wall. He's still eating this porridge, just watching. Is she having a bit of a breakdown or something?
Probably.
Just looking at, yeah. Well. Hopefully she'll keep it quick then.
Vanya, I know I have a long lifespan, but preferably before I become old and decrepit.
Just waiting for everyone to get here. Okay. You know, I did push all this stuff. So she goes and she starts gathering chairs to make it look like they're kind of sitting in an audience so that they can individually sit down one by one. She pulls them up behind them. Okay. All right. You're all seated. Okay. I'm going to set the scene. You know, we're in the area that we were the other day with the think table, like down in the private area, and the scene starts with Telba and this guy. I have no idea what his name is, but I'm gonna play that guy. Okay, it's one of his minions, I guess. So,
can't you just tell us what happened?
No. No questions until after. And I will let you guys know when it's done, when Cypher and I bow. Okay? All right, no questions in the middle of it. And she's going to cast Telepathic Link to Cypher. And says, "Can you hear me?"
Oh God, you're in my head.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to feed you your lines, okay?
Tell that will I roll to the crowd.
He did not do that, so he's not acting annoyed right now. You are to act very, like, matter of fact, like you are leading the group, you are important, and people listen to you, okay? That's your motivation.
Okay, I know what Telba's
Give me the look.
motivation is. And he
Give me
gives
the
you the Telba stare.
Nailed it. So she slides up into the seat next to him and says, "Are you ready?"
As I'll ever be. Feed me my lines.
And she feeds him the first line.
So Cypher lifts a finger to his lips to silence everyone. Says, "We shall burn the thank table," and takes a fake drink of his glass.
Burn the thank table, but like with people in it?
We shall lose a few people, but that should hopefully get the guild off their back for a few days.
It takes Vanya a little bit as she's trying to form the words to feed to him.
Do you want me to DM him what I DM'd you?
I'm slowly giving it to him because she
Okay.
needs to,
Okay.
kind of. But when? When will we burn the thank table?
When the merchant guild comes to investigate the tavern, obviously.
But, But why? Why would we do this?
Right, let's have
Yeah, fucking, I'm getting bombarded here. Okay.
And Vanya at this point is like staring into you because she just like rattled off probably a paragraph worth of lines and just keeps repeating them to you in your head and expecting you to recite them.
Sonia, do we really have to do this way?
He can't focus right now.
Yes, well, stop bombarding me with crap. Yes, well, I'll be getting the main body of the Silent Road in the city to hopefully help disrupt some of the merchant guild's operations in the Lantern district. To do that, they've been moving shipments of weapons, as seen by some of the guards that attacked us had some very nice equipment, obviously being moved for them. So we're going to see if we can, flip the coin and have heat on them for moving weapons.
Are we literally gonna flip a coin?
No, it's just a phrase, darling. Just a phrase.
And scene. Cypher or Telba, come on. Let's come up and bow.
I'm not bowing, and Cypher walks to the corner and slowly changes back to himself.
And that is what my friend Ted has brought back to us.
So they're enacting the plan that I agreed with them. Yes.
By the sounds of it.
Yeah, they're gonna burn it down.
But it also sounds like they're striking back.
So
Yeah, go on.
we're going to burn down the thing table?
Yes.
I could do for a remodel.
Exactly.
Was gaudy.
We'll make it we're going to make it a more sensible tavern with a very good access through the sewers and some office space upstairs. Private office space.
Sounds good.
And we're going to keep ownership.
Hmm.
And the Frank table is going to pay for the materials to rebuild it. Not the Frank table, sorry, the Silent Road. Even.
What about the additional things that they have planned?
He did mention about it. Anything that they do will keep suspicion away from us, so I'm okay with it.
As long as it's not harmful towards us, and who cares?
It's going to be happening in a district other than ours, so...
So, at least it was a good show, right? It may have not been any new information that you cared to hear, but it was good though, right?
Yes, I played it really well. You're welcome.
It was uncanny. It was like I was staring at the actual Telba.
So
Because
what
you-
I'm getting, sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
What I'm getting is not only is Tauber going to burn down the thank table, he's going to try to make it look like the people who he's having altercations with are also dealing in weapons. Is that about right?
Yeah.
I think that's the gist of it.
Hmm.
Could work in
Yeah.
our favor. What's that? What's that? The noble that we heard about is gathering resources for the war against Barak. Count what's his face?
Oh,
One
I
inch-
know who you're talking about.
The one in charge of everything.
Oh, maybe if you show us his face, we can
Ocean.
remember.
I've never met him.
It's the leader of the Koshevek, I believe.
Yes, the Grand Duke.
That's the word. Sorry, it's been a long night and day.
Hmm. Maybe more political intrigue pointing at their direction will keep heat off ours. I don't suppose the Koshevek will want his business and efforts being squandered by some greedy merchants who are funneling weapons and armor to fund their own vendetta for coin.
No, probably not.
Probably not.
Do we think that this might be a fun little tidbit to drop when we meet with the Countess?
Probably. I think we should leave that up to Garrett, though.
Yes, we'll have to...
Or Dorian. One of you should be the designated speakers. Maybe we should just be seen and not heard.
We should act out all of our plans now to make sure that they go as planned.
No,
Absolutely
we're never doing
not.
this again.
Oh.
As fun as it was, it does take up a lot of time. If you'd have just told us, we'd have been finished sooner.
I feel like it's way more effective. You get to absorb the scene.
Also,
Take it all
Vanya, you
in.
are telepathic. Could have just shown us.
Well, I used that with Cypher so that he could act it out. I didn't want you all to feel left out that you didn't see what I saw with my toad.
We
Although
wouldn't
you're
have-
right, I could have shown you, but this feels way more effective and more intimate. Didn't you feel it?
No, it was a pain.
Well, I mean, you tried it once. You know, you don't always like it the first time. Maybe try it a couple of more times.
Never
and-
again.
Vanya, it's difficult to hold somebody else's face when you have somebody telepathically in your head bombarding you. It's very difficult.
So you're saying you can't concentrate like that?
Exactly.
Didn't mean to cause you pain. I will go a little bit slower next time.
Not pain, more it's difficult. I'm not as limber, and he pokes his face, and it kind of squishes in and slowly pokes out as I once was. Yes. Holding
You
a
need-
form takes concentration.
Do you need to loosen up before? Do I need to give you time? Because you're a little stiff.
No.
So what I'm hearing is we're not open to doing this again.
No.
Finally!
You know, we'll give it some time. You might change your mind. I might bring it back at some other point. Maybe I try it on my sisters. Maybe they enjoy it.
Yeah, maybe they can act it out for us. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. If we get
You could get
more
them
people,
costumes, and you do a little play for us.
and I can have, you know, as a little unprepared for this because I didn't have a lot of time, I can have like scripting and all of that, and it can go a little bit smoother because there were some times that, you know, you just weren't quite quick at picking up the lines. It's perfect.
I think maybe we should move on from the theatrics conversation to more pressing matters. And she looks at Garrett.
Yes. Let's move along. 'Cause after all, I can feel my body getting older as we.
Well, I'm
So
not
what's
getting
next?
I'm not getting any older. That's how I know I'm dead.
2-1, still in lead.
I'll catch up. Don't worry.
So what's next on the docket?
Well, very quickly. And the black cat that followed Reza has just been kind of winding around her ankles. And she's kind of pats the table they're all gathered around, and he jumps up. She jumps up because it's a female cat. I would like everyone to meet Munchie.
Why is it called Munchie?
Because I couldn't think of a better name.
I like it.
Is it Munchie because she's gonna bite me?
Yes, actually, she will need to bite each one of you. Just once. Just gently. And as you look at this cat, it's got like sleek black fur, kind of like a Siamese cat body style, but all black. It has deep red eyes and a deep red nose.
Cypher's just going to put his hand out for it to bite him.
And the Munchie just quickly nips, holds for a second, and then opens his mouth and looks up at Reza. And she nods at him. Good girl. I'm going to keep calling it him. It might as well be a boy. I'm going to fuck this up.
It's
an
fluid.
androgynous cat. It's a
Yeah.
they.
It's fluid.
Yeah. It can be whatever it wants to be.
You got a lady part and you're like, I don't need to chisel that out.
Yep. It's a Ken doll.
Feels kind of weird now.
So, he just needs to taste one drop of blood, and then he will forever know you for who you are, no matter what you look like. And if somebody tries to impersonate you, he will let me know.
Is there a particular place he...
Just hold out your damn finger, Vanya.
Oh. And she's gonna hold her finger out.
Vanya, roll me an animal handling check. Reza, do what you will with that.
Munchie looks at Reza, and Reza just nods but winks at him, and Munchie just chomps down at Vanya's finger, staring up into her eyes as he does, and just kind of like holds it for a solid 5 seconds before he lets go. Then he just kind of licks his lips when he lets go.
Tasty.
Okay, Elias, I give permission. Do not attack. I hang out my finger.
Yeah, the roots are already starting to straighten out above you. But yeah, I would imagine that for the rest of you, the cat goes around, bites each of your fingers, before then making its way back up towards you, Reza.
Yeah, and for everyone else, it's like a quick, respectful nibble. Garrett, would you mind letting Elias know that Munchie here is an ally? He's going to help keep an eye on the upstairs where all the patrons are, and keep an eye on the staff as well to make sure that we're not infiltrated.
Well, since you said you were making a cat, I made you this. And I pull a collar out of my jacket with a little talisman on it with the emblem of the folly. And it's got one of Elias's seeds inside, so it knows him.
Reza is like a little kid. She's like, "Oh my god, Garrett, this is amazing." She takes the collar and she puts it around Munchie's neck, and he just looks so dapper.
Yes, I put the folly sign on it, so should any of the customers see it, they would not overstep the bound.
Not trying to eat it.
Yeah.
And that's also part of the reason it got named Munchie, because cats are food in Novostoya.
I'm going to leave it to you to tell Francis about him, though.
I think they're going to be best friends.
Sure.
Okay. Well, thank you all for participating in Munchie's education. What were we doing?
What's next on the docket?
Right, are we expecting the Merchant Guild in the district office today, Dorian?
Well, they were originally coming in 7 days.
7 days ago.
Yes. So I guess, yes, they should be there. And I've only the one patty, but at least that's something.
One's enough. Lower Street is a poor place, and Bloodshot would not be readily found.
Of course not. Of course not. Well, I suppose then we should... I should probably report that little bit of information. And Yes, getting that back to the investigators is one thing. But, alas, there's not much we can do if there's just no trace of it here. After all, something so precious, how would it be coming in from this place of all places, yes?
Yes, the vast majority of the populace has never seen gold, let alone ground it up and put it in a drink.
It's a good point, it's a good point. Well then, I'll have to get that set up. I should probably be about that then, shouldn't I?
If there's anything you should need, let us know.
I shall. Alright, I'm gonna go get ready and get that turned over to them. Alright. Let me know if anything comes up. I'll just be between here and the office.
Of course, we'll let you know if we hear anything.
Yep. So
Likewise,
Dorian's gonna
yes.
go upstairs. Yes. Yeah, of course. Of course. Dorian's gonna head upstairs to get his stuff
Okay.
sorted and get properly fixed up to be able to head to the office, and he's gonna be looking for on the way he's gonna be looking for anybody who looks like they might be good to like be someone who heard something or saw something or something like that, but not much else.
All right.
Worst case scenario, he's just going to say that there's an anonymous tip or something like that.
So, Dorian, this is going to be a thing. So, whilst Dorian's getting ready, the rest of you, is there anything you wish to talk about amongst yourselves, or anything that's happening before we feed into Dorian heading to the administration office? In fact, hold that thought. It's just popped up with adverts. Should we call a quick BRB?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Perfect.
Oh, it's not BRB. It's fucking P. There we go. All right. We will be right back, folks. So yeah, it'll give you a minute to have a think. If there's anything you wish to
Be right back.
talk about, will be but a moment. I'm back.
Me too.
Oh.
Same.
I keep forgetting my own bloody commands. There we go.
It happens.
It does. Hello. Okay. I think we're just waiting for Vanya.
I believe that's the case, yeah.
So, whilst we're waiting for Vanya, Garrett, Reza, Cypher, is there anything else you three wish to do or discuss whilst you're all together for the moment?
No, Cypher's just gonna go. Well, I'm gonna go. Well, Dorian's busy. I'm gonna go scout out my own grave. Either you two would like to join.
Sure, I'll go with you. And Reza turns to Bunchy and says, "Stay here. Be a good cat."
I think I'll come as well and take in the lay of the land.
That way you'll know where we are.
Yes, it's handy to know where one's ally.
So, you've obviously got to pass the administration office to get through, towards Malmstown. Are you heading with Dorian some of the way, or are you gonna go separately?
Probably separately, just with spies being anywhere, everywhere, possibly at the moment. We don't want to be seen out associating with Dorian. Just so we don't, cut his...
Yep.
Make it harder for him in the long run,
So the next question I've got is, who's leaving first?
Dorian would be leaving first, but
Okay.
he takes his time to, on the way, he's going to be looking things over, kind of surveying it, letting people see him out there amongst them, stuff like that. He's just trying to constantly push elements of campaigning that he doesn't really have a whole lot of understanding of, but he's just like, this is what people do.
Roll me, let's go with a performance check.
Not much of a performer.
No, but it's still a solid roll. As you make your way out onto the cobbles of lower streets, you begin greeting people, shaking hands, kissing babies. I was about to say, kissing hands, shaking babies, but you, after a bit of a jaunt towards the administration office, you overhear a group of slum dwellers talking about a recent disturbance. Voice of an older man. He's got a small lantern in hand and yeah, just barge right past, straight in. Low fancy tabard on him with gold and armour. Didn't stop for no man.
Dorian's overhearing that, and that kind of catches his attention. You there, what do you say about gold armor? You sure it wasn't bronze or something put on?
Oh, I mean, it was shiny. Yep, shinier than I've ever seen. So, I mean, it might have been bronze, might have been tin, might have been gold, but shiny armor, right, with like a mustard yellowy tabard over the top. Big group of them, about 30 to 40 or so, right, just storming down, and there's got this yellow-robed woman in the middle, like they were protected like she was some sort of fucking princess.
Yellow tabards sound like the Merchants Guild to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which way did they go?
Oh, well, they went in, towards the district office. But it's the second group that I'm worried about.
Second group.
Yeah, they're scary fuckers. They were scary, right? Not that same sort of number, right? About 40 or so of them. All of them in just like, black robes. Couldn't see their faces. Nah, not a single one. They got these fucking pointy white masks on. And they were huddled around some other geezer, getting him into the district office. If they're all going in the same direction, then, well, I hightailed it out of there. Fuck that.
Probably a good call. People who are wearing things like that, there's no telling what they might be up to.
Exactly.
And,
hey, aren't you that bigwig who's trying to sort of take on, ownership of this place?
say oversight more than ownership. After all, it doesn't belong to any one person, it belongs to everyone, yes?
Yeah, you're damn right it does. Yeah. Oh, what was your name again?
You can call me Charlton.
Charlton. All right, yeah. Yeah, you hear that, lads? The big wig who's meant to be. Yeah, this is him. The old guy starts just shouting down the street, pointing to your direction. Who'd thought he'd mingling with us like out here on the old cobble? That fucker from before would never do anything like that.
And, there's a moment of like, yay, and then he's like, oh. And then he's going to start looking up and down the street and look for people in the type of garb that this old man's been describing out on the street. Like if there are any people wearing like all yellow tabards or people wearing the white masks, which he's going to guess that might have something to do with the Sandovals particularly because they were supposed to be in the area too.
Roll me a perception check.
Yeah, okay, this is where I really shine.
Over the cause of this man and the slowly gathering crowd around you, all wanting to shake your hand and greet you, you can't really make out. No one seems to be wearing armor. You don't seem to see any yellow. You catch a glimpse of yellow every now and again, but it's someone in a yellow dress or a yellow linen top. No one wearing these white masks either.
And he's gonna shake a few hands to people who are like the closest to him, like two hands, like once he has their hand, he'll put his hand over theirs, he'll shake him, and kind of bow deeply. And he has a hard time holding back, like, with how strong he is from these people, so he's just gonna be brief about it. He's gonna wave his hat in the air, and he's gonna start walking towards the district office, trying to keep an eye out for what this old man described.
All right. As you begin to make your way toward the district office, it doesn't take long before you start hearing the sound of raised voices and shouts and calls from individuals. And as the street widens out into the courtyard in front of the district office, on one side of the courtyard you see roughly 30 to 35 of the stereotypical merchant guard in their armors. This time some of them equipped with actual plate, the rest equipped with the splint and chain that you're used to, all of them with the golden symbol of the Merchant Guild. On the opposite side of the courtyard, roughly similar in number, are a group of about 35 black-robed individuals, white masks that elongate into a point, black wide-brimmed hats. The Merchant Guard are the ones who are doing the shouting. On the opposite side, the black-robed individuals are just stood there, hands on their weapons at the ready.
So does this look like they're like in opposition to the merchant guard?
Absolutely. And there is a... Would there be? No, there wouldn't. You weren't there for that. Were you?
I
No.
doubt it.
No, you weren't.
Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Nope. You have no idea who these are.
Well, he has.
An
There
inkling.
is one thing. There is one thing that I'm going to ask directly. Like, if I have to roll, I'll roll. But is this like an actual physical presence of the Morbus Doctore?
Roll me a history check. Yes. Yes, it is.
This is not normal. So they've got their weapons. They're standing off with the merchant guard.
There is a standoff either side of the courtyard, which leaves a large open area that leads to the front door to the administration office.
So the door is in between them.
Yep.
Like, so it's like they're basically like two walls. And
Yep.
Okay. Well, no one's going to accuse Dorian of being smart after this, but Dorian's going to walk right down the middle, just like he's got his walking stick. He's going to like wave that and like, nod to people on either side as he goes right between them.
The Morbus the Morbus Doctore, you would just see from their side these white beaked masks just look at you and follow you as you walk down the middle. There would be some murmurs and grumbling from the merchant guard, but none of them step forward.
And as he's going through, it's like, wow, sunny day, isn't it? Lovely to see you. And just, he's just going to approach the front door between these. Like, he expects that something might happen, but, like, he's not a stranger to wholesale murder. So, if anything happens, it's going to be his plan to run straight for the door.
As you push open the large double doors into the central chamber of the administration office, you are met with quite the sight. A central table has a couple of individuals sat around it. On one side of the room, members of the Morbus Doctore standing guard, roughly about 5 of them. On the opposite side, the same again for the merchant guard. At the table, though, you would see 3 individuals who would stand out amongst the backdrop of this golden black. On the Morbus Doctore's side, you would see a somewhat elderly gentleman, eyes glazed over, and stood just behind him would be another member of the Doctore, but this time his long coat has a multitude of embellishments, emblems, sigils, and pins on. His mask seems to be more detailed than the rest, but a lot older. Instead of it having the usual point, it seems to just droop down. A couple of scratches and scars along the mask show that this man may have been in a fight at some point. Opposite to that is a woman wearing an incredibly bright yellow fine robe. Her hands folded in front of her as she's leaning forward towards this elderly gentleman.
Well, Dorian's going to walk into this room and just, not like towards the table where they're all seated with their guards and everything, but he's going to just saunter around towards, like, on his way to the office and just taking in the whole thing, like, listening. He's trying not to, like, as he's doing this, he's very large and he's not being quiet about walking through. So there's going to be just booming footsteps as he goes through this room.
All of the guards' attention turns to you. And the yellow-robed woman and the leader of the Doctore also turn to you. The one thing you would notice is that this old man who is glazed over. He's just sat in the chair. The woman looks towards you. I wasn't aware that there were members in office today. Thought everyone had cleared out. I take it you're one of Lord Sandoval, and as she says as she motions over the table towards the old man, one of Lord Sandoval's lackeys.
Lord Sandoval, oh, pleasure. No, actually. He's going to fish out his symbol, like minor symbol of office, and show it. I just work here. Nobody told me that we had the day off. So I thought I'd get a little bit of work done after all. Things have been put in motion by Master Reuben about getting things going already, I thought.
Ah,
News to
Master
me.
Reuben, yes. And as she says that, you just hear this voice ring out from behind the white mask.
You no longer have to listen to the words of Master Reuben. Lord Philip Sandoval has begun to take over possession of this district. Therefore, whatever you are doing here is no longer legal.
And he's saying this directly across the table towards the Merchant Guild.
So, I would highly recommend, on the orders of my lord here, that you take your men and you depart from the slums. You are far, far away from your gilded towers.
The woman shoots.
This old moving? Is this old man moving at all?
Roll me a perception check.
Like, is he like in a vegetative state as well? Like, it feels like he's just like a quadriplegic old man that they're just dragging around.
Weekend of burning it.
Yeah. Well, if that's the impression you're getting, I'm not even going to ask you to roll, because that is, apart from him breathing, the glazed eyes and him just sat in the chair staring over at this robed woman, certainly appears that he is not of sound body and mind. And as this voice rings out from the Doctore, the woman says, well, I'm sure Lord Philip Sandoval would be more than happy to.
He does not need to concern himself with the petty tribulations that you bring now.
Dorian's got his hat, and he's going to take his stick, and he's going to actually just like look at the Lord guy, and he's going to put his stick out in front of the middle of the table. He's going to wave it up and down a little bit to see if the guy does anything. Just, just a little bit, like, kind of like see, like, because other people are probably going to look.
His eyes slowly fixate on the cane, and he blinks.
Okay.
And for a brief...
Oh, there you are.
The eyes of the Doctore next to him just lock onto you, Dorian.
You said you are a worker here,
Yes. Junior Administrator, I think, is the title. And he's just Dorian, while he's talking to this guy, he's going to use the cane to draw the Lord's eyes to his.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's going to just try to bring it to the point. He's just going to try to get him to meet his gaze.
He does.
And he's going to just stare at him and see if there's anything beyond just like a passing. Like, is this guy, like, he feels like this guy might be at death's door.
Roll me an insight check quickly as you're gazing into Philip Sandoval's eyes. It doesn't seem like he's at death's door. But there is certainly something there. He, be it magic or poison. That's the sort of thing. He certainly seems drugged.
So he is being used as I feel like he's being used as like a puppet, like a showpiece by these people around him. Wow. And he's going to look back over at the people in the gold and just see if, like, try to register if they're all way ahead of him on this already, like, if they have an idea of what's going on here.
Absolutely. But you would notice that pinned to this gentleman's jacket, along with all the various other pins and emblems, is the symbol of House Sandoval.
Interesting.
Which, for someone in your position, Dorian, you would understand that he's kind of been given the rights of a speaker as the right hand of Philippe.
Huh. Well, it's... I hadn't recognized you. Wonderful to meet you, my lord. Lord Rupert did say you'd be along soon enough. And... Can I get you anything? Perhaps, and he looks at the guy with the mask, perhaps like one of those long straws, bit of water maybe. And he's clearly being a little bit facetious, but he's trying to put on a show of like hospitality. But what am I saying? This is clearly a conversation above my station. I just work here. And he's going to keep trotting up towards the office and try to get through the door and find a place to post up and just listen in and eavesdrop a bit.
Yeah. You would... Before you depart, the man in the mask would turn to you.
Dr. Joran van Eysen. I am the physician and speaker for Lord Philippe here. Anything that you wish to speak of him with can go through me.
So Dorian has an inkling to do something, but he's like, it would be really stupid. There's nobody else here, and what was it? I don't know. I've met one of your distant relatives, the former governor. Didn't really ever get to talk to him very much either. Seems that I'll probably never get to speak directly to any of the Sandovals. A shame.
As you say that, you would hear the woman chime up. Yes, indeed, it isn't a shame. Are we all just going to happily play along with this farce? She looks back over the table towards Philip Sandoval and Dr. Joran. This farce of you having this, well, not exactly the most responsive individuals put into a position. And you fully expect us to comply with the orders of some doctor who, well, no offense, but your attire certainly brings images and remembrance to that of the Doctore. And as you know, members of the Doctore are not exactly looked upon favourably by the court now, are they, Dr. Joran? And you will probably hear Dorian, as you depart, him just say,
Times change. it would seem that we now have a new patron who values our counsel, our research. And as such, we are here to do the Sandoval's bidding. So, get your little golden guards and get out of the slums. Whatever business you had here is no longer viable.
Okay. Hearing this, Dorian's going to step back. This is going to get me into trouble, I think. But he's going to walk back and just look at has the Lord looked back to, or is he still focusing on him?
He's still looking at you, Dorian.
He's going to just stare into his eyes, and he's just going to try to, like, widen a smile. And, like, how far away are we? Like 10, 15 feet,
Yeah,
something
not
like that?
not too far at all. You know, the room's not huge. So yeah, I would say 10, 15 feet.
So while this doctor's talking to the gold-clad merchant, he's just going to lock eyes with the Lord and intensely stare at him. I'm going to try to frighten him.
Okay.
Oh my god, he's gonna have a heart attack.
Well, it's yes and no is what I'm thinking. Like, there's going to be no perceptible anything done here. However, I am trying to do something very underhanded.
All right, you say you're gonna frighten him. What's
Just, like, basically just going to lock eyes with him and just... It's just the changing expression, like, just to an expression of, like, sheer malice. And just because this guy doesn't have much going on, but he's going to try. He's got to try to do something here just to fuck with, throw a wrench into this motherfucker's plans.
Roll me an intimidation check.
Yeah, I have the actual frighten
Oh, right.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Oh, no.
Scare a creature. Must roll wisdom save by your intimidation check or be frightened for 1 turn.
Alternatively, read the second point.
You may add strength or constitution. Yeah. Yeah, it's... You can increase your... Basically, I add my strength to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I'll do...
Oh, intimidation plus either your strength or con.
Yeah, I have it set to strength. Because it's his most substantial stat. I think it's what you have to pick it at the beginning. Sorry. So normal. It didn't do the plus.
That's fine. What's the plus?
Plus 4.
Plus 4, so that would take it up to 15.
15?
So, whilst you stare, there is a brief flicker of recognition that crosses Philip Sandoval's eyes. The haze that was once clouding it, just for a brief moment, subsides, Dorian.
Mm-hmm.
And you would see his brows knit together as he offers a baleful glare towards you. Whatever spell or holds was over him for a brief moment there, this killing intent, this intimidation shook him from it, and for a brief moment you saw a very strong will emitted from this man. But it doesn't take long before eventually the eyes begin to glaze over. Whatever focus was on you starts to slip, and he returns back to being this half drooling, half dead, half alive individual slumped in a chair.
Well, and he's not going to say anything directly at the table because it's clear that there's a lot of stuff going on here. But he's going to step away from the table and like turn away and almost had him there for a moment. And he's going to go to his office and get some papers, and he'll come back and listen in on the conversation. I don't feel right about like just standing there like constantly retrying something. Yeah, but no,
Don't worry.
the short term goal.
There will be another chance. Don't you worry.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. But there we go.
All right.
So Dorian's gonna go and get that, and he's gonna write up. He'll look over his documentation. I'm guessing Pip isn't there that day.
No.
Yeah.
No, there aren't many people here at all, apart from a few of the higher ranking scribes who have been told, they need to sit in for taking notes. But yeah, the vast majority of people seem to have been kicked out of the administration office.
And he's going to write up like a little report that someone it's like the faintest of rumors, basically pointing back towards some place called like the Skinned Ass or the Tanned Mule or something like that in the coin flow. Like just
oh no,
the very faintest like whiff of like it's going to be stated in that it's probably not to be taken seriously, but this is the best. And he's going to try to obscure it enough that someone might actually have to think and come up with the name of the Tanned Ass. And then, basically he's giving a very gentle nudge towards that guy, because something is better than nothing. And also that guy is going to get his.
Yeah. So, for a brief moment, I'm going to leave you in your office whilst you write this, while we take a quick flick outside. Outside the administration office, Reza, in fact, since Vanya's now back, Vanya, are you going out on a jaunt with Garrett, Reza and Cypher to survey Malmstown, or have you got other things you wish to do back at the Folly?
She's, she didn't want to be left out, so she's going to go with them.
Excellent. So then, with that said, Dorian's departed. You all finish whatever miscellaneous tasks are at hand and eventually group up in the Folly before setting out in the direction of Malmstown. It doesn't take long for you to notice, the closer you get to the administration office on the way to Malmstown, that there are groups of people who are leaning out of archways, looking out of windows, gossiping, before you all eventually see this sight in the courtyard of around about 60 people in some standoff. On one side, the gilded, yellow-robed clad soldiers of the Merchant Guild, and on the other side, familiar figures from long ago, the Morbus Doctore.
Well, that looks interesting.
Doesn't it just? If my eyes don't deceive me, is that the Doctore?
Indeed, it is.
I thought that wasn't a problem anymore after that last encounter. Did I just dream that up?
I suspect we may have inadvertently created a large problem for ourselves. Let's keep walking.
Or we could tell the wardens there's a disturbance at the town hall and see what happens.
Oh, Cypher. Oh.
And set the place on fire?
No, we've already destroyed one district office. Let's try not to do another.
I just thought that was our MO from the last time.
No,
that was a distraction.
That's your MO. No, actually, it's your MO, and he points at Reza.
I was like, yeah, why?
I haven't set something on fire in... And she kind of looks off into the air, trying to count on her fingers how long it's been. Months?
I do hear Reza, though. If you play with fire before you go to bed, you will wet the bed.
Dead people don't do that.
Oh, because you don't sleep, right? So you couldn't wet the bed, so it's okay for you to play with fire.
Sure, whatever you need to think.
It's a weird saying. Okay, we're just moving on then, Garrett.
Yes, yes.
That was a point for me, by the way, Cypher.
Damn it! I didn't think you'd notice.
But wait,
What?
wait, are we taking points between myself and Reza, or is it points between all? Because I felt like Cypher got a point whenever he called Reza out on the fire.
Cypher puts his fingers on Vanya's throat and he goes, "No, you're not in the game," and walks away.
No, sorry. And she follows over.
She's gonna be very confused on why the finger was on her throat.
It was on your pulse.
What? Like, are you checking if I'm still alive?
Yeah.
Am I gonna die soon?
I don't know. Are you?
That's up to you.
Yeah.
Like, do you know something that I don't know?
No.
And
No.
is this gonna be a regular occurrence?
Vanya,
or
you really need to stop reading so much into every single thing that happens.
in an hour, I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you to check my pulse.
Reza just hands her a baked good.
And she's gonna take it, and it's gonna like help her anxiety because that really just like threw her over the edge.
Don't worry about it, darling. Come on, there's holes to dig.
You make your way further southwest towards Malmstown. Eventually, some of the crowds that were trying to peep in on the courtyard subside. Malmstown, as you reach it, is pretty much the same as always. It's relatively quiet. Some of the groups who used to hang around are nowhere to be seen. There is the odd person who sits on a barrel or a crate at the side of the road with a sword at their hip, just keeping watch. But ever since the scouring, most inhabitants of Malmstown keep themselves and stay indoors. What are we doing here?
It's fair. We're looking for an open area that we directed our good friends towards.
Yeah.
And a place where the soil is able to be dug through and not like hardened, calcified, whatever the scouring did to it.
I would imagine rather than packing the dirt together, it would be pretty loose dirt, considering all moisture and organic matter that was in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, anything that perhaps once lived in there was disintegrated.
Get it.
Yes, now it's been 6 months, so there may be the odd shoot trying to grow, but for all intents and purposes, it's just fine powdered dirt, and that's been turned to sludge with the rains every now and again. Easy to dig through though, and yeah, it wouldn't take you long to find an apt place for you to dig your graves.
Cypher,
Mm-hmm.
did you bring anything to dig with?
Well, no, I was going to come back later in the cover of darkness. I didn't want to do it in the middle. And he points up the
No.
sky. I know. I know. Before anybody says anything, daytime and nighttime are relative speaking terms, but people sleep at nighttime in the city most of the time.
That is fair. So how are we going to time this? We're going to bury ourselves and wait for a couple hours till midnight?
Sure.
Are you expecting me to dig and get dirty?
No.
Oh, good.
What's the fun? You only get to dig your own grave once, right?
Might do this again. You never know.
You never
But
know.
who's gonna bury you, though?
Oh, good point. You will have to bury us.
Garrett could help. Reza looks at Garrett.
Gareth's going to show a face of shock, comically.
Oh, my apologies, my lord.
Just for your mind's eye, think Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone.
Hands on the cheeks and everything.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sure I can assist with the burial.
I could maybe push a little few granules on top to help.
Don't worry,
Right.
it'll be shallow graves.
How shallow?
Shallow enough so should I get attacked, they can save my very valuable life. Because I'm not dead.
Say no more than half a foot of dirt on top of us.
Mm-hmm. Preferably less. Because, we're dead, so we can, suck it in.
The dirt?
No! We can, hold our breath for a very long time, so it's it's not going to be breathing in and out, disturbing the dirt.
I thought that you guys don't breathe.
We don't. But that's the point, Vanya.
But why
Vanya,
would you be holding it if you don't?
Did you know,
breathe?
Vanya, that you have to breathe to talk?
Oh, you gotta push it to make sounds. Why would you be
Mhm.
talking in your grave, though?
Well, I was just wondering if you knew that, that's all. Also, if you've been alive and you are now dead, breathing can sort of be a habit.
Oh, well, you better not, because, if it's a shallow grave and you're habitly breathing, it's gonna kind of go, it's gonna move.
That's why I
Yeah.
said we're going to... Do you understand now?
I've got the perfect idea.
No.
I can coach you all through
No,
this. I
no.
can telepathically link and say, don't breathe, don't breathe, don't breathe.
Reza just shoves another pastry in her mouth and says, "No, Vanya, you will not do that."
I'm not stressed right now. I don't need food.
No, but with that in your mouth, you can't breathe or talk.
I can still breathe through the sides of where the pastry isn't.
I thought you'd breathe through your nose.
It's a little stuffed up right now. All the
It's-
smoke and it's allergy season.
Vanya, how far away can you be to read someone's thought?
Well, let me just tell you that real quick.
As she checks that character sheet.
As I check my character sheet. I'm not seeing any. I think Solution had said as long as I know you guys, he's not really concerned about that.
It's not one of us.
I think he's asking about a spell.
The
A
spell
spell.
detect thoughts.
Oh, the detect thoughts. Okay. That one is I have to see them within 30 feet.
Okay, no good then.
Sorry, she was still on trying to help Reza and Cypher through the whole not breathing thing.
I think you'll find Scuba Steve is well acquainted with not breathing.
Okay. Well, speaking of talking in people's mind, while I'm having this meeting, I intend to have a link with all of you so you're apprised of what is going on. That way I won't have to act anything else when I get home.
That's like, oh,
That's a relief.
Wait, we're not gonna act it out.
No,
we're
'cause
not going to
you're
act it
leaving,
out because we're going to be here.
and you're going to get the information in real time. And that way, if should I get attacked, you will know instantly. And my menaces from below will come out and save me.
Cypher, do you think this would be a strike force, Budman?
Ground force.
Ground force. Okay.
Yes.
Do I get a code name?
No.
Codename Mouth Breather.
Oh, that's a good one.
Seems very offensive.
Anyway, shall we have a walk around the field and see where we're going to set ourselves up?
Sure. We want somewhere with good access and visuals on everywhere, and
Somewhere Dorian and Vanya can
hide.
hide, but still be close enough to respond should we need help.
Within maybe 30 feet, I would like to visually see this place like we are acting it out.
How big's the field?
That's a question to the DM.
Solution.
Field is
like it.
400 feet by 500 feet. Oh no, that was the rough area. I mean, it depends. Are you wanting like in the actual? Sorry, I was reading, planning, plotting.
Mhm.
The field itself would be.
Like a football field size?
Yeah. Only part of
the-
it though would
yeah.
have been affected by the scouring, which is the side closer to the ruins of the old outcasts building.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it'll be the biggest field that was caught in the Scarron, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Probably it's an old mushroom field or whatever.
Yeah.
And I intend to be standing in the middle of the deadest part of the field.
So I think like 100 feet. So it'll be 50 feet from any edge to where Garrett
Yep.
is, basically.
Yeah, makes sense.
So the livies will be hiding outside of the field, and the deadies will be in the ground.
In the
of
ground.
the field.
Perfect.
Can't believe we've devolved to this now, livies and deadies.
It's delightful.
Anything else you all wish to do whilst here in Momstown?
Maybe evict anybody that might be around to fucking pay attention.
Not a bad shout.
Maybe with a couple of coins and just be like, fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Roll me an investigation check. Okay. So you spend the next 20, 30 minutes just going house to house on some of the nearby buildings. And you find that the vast majority do have either families or lodgers in. Even the old ruined Malmstown outcast guild hall has squatters in there.
As long as we can find one place to evict, so we can hide Vanya and Dorian.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're flashing coin around, you can pretty much you get your pick of the crop. These are the vast majority of the people seem to be perhaps people from the forest who have heard that there's some real estate that's opened up for free and have taken up residence there. So yeah, basically any building you want won't be a problem to acquire it.
Yeah, we'll just coerce whoever's willing for cheap prices, just to be like, just be somewhere else for a couple of days. Fuck off. Here's 5 silver for your troubles, sort of thing.
Roll me a persuasion check with advantage.
Persuasion with advantage.
With advantage, you're smashing silver coins at people.
25.
All right. So, in one of the houses, a gentleman overhears this call of, silver for your residence, and looking slightly blooded, unwell, various cuts, and most of his clothing's ragged and torn and dirty through mud. He pokes his head out. Hey, you said 5 silver to what? Just go away.
Let's go away for the week.
For the week? Oh, I mean, for 5 silver, I'd go away for the entire life. Hearing that, a couple of other people start poking their heads out of the ruins. 5 silver? What? 5 silver to leave? Yeah, this is 5 silver to... Whoa, come on then, very well, I'll take some of that silver. He stumbles out of the house towards you, and at that moment, the other houses as well hear this call out for 5 silver. You begin to see 2 people, 3, 5, 10, all begin to stumble out of the ruins and abandoned houses. All of them hands outstretched.
And you didn't see anything.
We didn't see anything. I mean, we can see silver coins, and you're just giving us silver to fuck off. You say another one. I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, I can see. Tabitha, can you see? Yeah, I could see.
Garrett, help me. They're morons, all of them.
What my colleague here means is you won't remember our face. If you get asked where the money came from, it was from an unknown benefactor.
You hear one woman just shout out, hey,
Small words, Garrett.
It'd be difficult not to remember your face. And you see this woman grinning at you, Garrett, with a single tooth left.
Don't fucking tell anybody you saw so that we gave you money. Just fucking go.
Oh, yeah, that we understand. All right, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Lovely doing business with you. Have a nice vacation.
Do you give 5 silver just as a one payment, or to everyone who comes up?
Yeah, go on, go.
So there's 10 people there?
It started off as 10, but the crowd's growing at the mention of coin. It's reached about 20 or so now.
Look, I was going to give 5 silver. What I will do, I will give a silver coin to everyone that's here now, but you fuck off right this minute.
20 people start nodding their head.
And out comes my coin purse. I'm just flicking silver coins at these people. Now, fuck off.
Anybody that's standing around at the end will be like, or we'll kill you all.
It doesn't take long. You know, as coins bounce along the dirt and cobbles of the street, there's a scamper for it. People grab their coin, shoot off in a multitude of directions. Some back towards the forest, others further into Malmstown, others down towards Kintov in a sort of southwesterly direction. It doesn't take long for the street to return to its quiet atmosphere of before.
Sometimes you just have to speak their own language.
Yes, unfortunately, I don't speak pathetic.
I'll happily translate for you.
Well, we have our pick of the hiding spots now.
And nobody to pry on us while we're digging holes. Wonderful. Any shovels in any of these houses? And Zephyr's got a prize in the houses so we can find a shovel.
Bound to be a shovel somewhere.
Yeah, there would be. They'd probably be rotten and old, but there'd be enough tools for you to do the job. You know, it is a farming hamlet on the outskirts of town after all, so yeah, there'd be more than enough there. All right. If there's nothing further from anyone,
We'll tell.
we'll see what's going off back at the administration office. So, Dorian, you've had the last 20 minutes or so to write out the report, compile any other documentation, and listen in on the discussions between the Doctore and the Merchant Guild. Roll me a perception check.
It's
Your
my
favorite.
best one, honestly. It's like wisdom. What's that? Almost.
15 or so minutes into you writing the false evidence, you would start to hear a few raised voices ring out through the halls of the administration office from the Merchant Guild representative, which at this point you would have overheard her say her name, which would be, she's known as Director Farida. And then Dr. Joran van Ryssen is the spokesman for Philippe Sandoval.
Well, it's only been a little while. So Dorian's gonna be walking back that way and listen for like sounds of a scuffle breaking out, because it sounds like that might happen. But he's kind of anticipating that won't happen, just because of like they don't want to have like full on like basically a little war between them here. But he's going to walk out, and as he goes past the table, he's going to take the scroll, and he's not going to hand it directly to the speaker of the Merchants Guild, but he's going to hand like the little paltry whispers basically to the person next to her, like clearly to give over to her. And he's to that person's like, with the request for information, this is hardly anything, very hard to discover anything. And he's just going to keep on going, and as he does, he's going to look at the vegetative lord and look at him and tip his hat again at him, and start heading back out.
As a brief flicker from Philip's eyes towards you, in some form of recognition, but you depart to the shout of Director Farida, almost screaming, saying, Doctor, you expect me to believe this farce that we can no longer operate in these districts just because you said so?
Not I. No, on the orders of House Sandoval and Philippe. You will gather your mercenaries, and you will depart within the hour. Do you understand?
Understand? You have no power here. This has been sanctioned by House Moretti. We are here with our own orders. And if I'm not mistaken, but there is actually how to put this, a vote on the next governor. Your little puppet here currently has no power. And it would be at that minute where, Dorian, you step out.
And obviously they're all talking. And as she's saying this, he's going to say, like, because there are a lot of people who are wrapped up in the conversation, but he has a feeling that Philippe might be a bit more aware of the environment, because he's just trapped. If only a puppet could cut its strings and be free. And he's going to walk out the door.
What was the lady's name again? Sorry.
Director Farida.
Thank
Yeah.
There is a
the
turn of the
terminology
head.
used is very close to home, so that warrants him saying something before he leaves.
There would be a turn of the head from Dr. Yoren. Now, bear in mind, his mask is like the rest, but the difference is that he's not got the black tinted glass over the eyes like the other Doctorial members, so you can plainly see the eyes behind the mask. And as you depart, Dorian, they lock onto you and the head tilts to the side slightly. But with that, the door closes. As you step back out into the open courtyard of Lower Streets. Here, the scene's almost the same as before. The Doctore members are all stood almost like statues, unmoving, their hands resting on their weapons. The Merchant Guard, half of them are still stood in position in a similar pose with their hands on their weapons, but a few of the others have started just making their way to the back, creating a few campfires, stoves over them, cooking. But every now and again, those who are at the back would cast a weary glance over to the Doctore to see if there's any movement or action.
Well, he's gonna go down the center line again, basically, to exit. All the while just, waving from here to there and looking at some of the doctors. He's gonna say, nice mask you've got there. And he's gonna be just walking out. Because, his only real experience with the Doctore was, in the original, well, not the original, but the fire in Lower Streets that took out the district, and how it was basically pinned on them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's just gonna saunter out and
You
Head
would get a
back.
response. As, it's just a nice mask. You would have one of them dip their head to you in acknowledgement. They wouldn't say anything, but the head would dip.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's going to head back and, do much the same thing. He's going to be looking to head back to the Folly because he's anticipating the meeting tonight. So he wants to get, properly suited up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's toying with the idea on the way back that this Lord Philippe, he's trapped in a sedated or maybe paralytic state or something, and he's a little bit disappointed, but he's also kind of more intrigued now that this guy wasn't just even if he's a vegetable or trapped in his own body, he's not a complete mental invalid. He might actually be a person worth not to be trifled with if he weren't in the state he's in.
It certainly goes against what you were told of him by
Oh yeah, well the thing is that Ruben's gonna smear the guy constantly. He expects everyone to be playing their own side and casting everyone the worst possible as character assassination.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just trying to weigh out the best way to get himself and everybody from the Folly get them ahead to a point where they're in a better place. But now that things have changed, he really is looking out for himself as all, but he's not. Yeah. He'll still shelter and shield anybody from the Folly, and he wants to make sure that everybody gets ahead. So he's trying to figure out the best way to make this happen.
Yeah. So you got Abdil Ruben of Moretti, who have control, or some saying in the Merchant Guild. It seems that the Doctore have wormed their way to Sandoval, and Vulpescu on the side. It's yes, look at this giant crock of shit that we're stirring.
It really is just, I don't know, it's throwing the Doctore in, though. It's
Oh, it was so much easier before.
Yeah, I really just wish the guy had just failed his save. So I could have just slowly dealt psychic damage until he died.
All right. So my guess is then that all of you, over the span of the next hour or so, will probably make your way back towards the Folly.
Yes.
All right. Folly or Shadowed Circle?
Dorian. We don't still stick with the commoners anymore.
Dorian.
Dorian's going to go to the Undercroft where his gear is stored, and he checks it on Sal, and then he's going to get everything ready, and he's going to put on his helmet and make sure that's fitted proper, because it's after the day, he really wants to just hurt someone, so he's going to get ready and go to the circle and post up with a little bit of drink, not too much, because he wants to be sharp for the evening. But
yeah,
he'll have his mug and his helmet on the table in front of him. He's just gonna be sitting back in his armor and just basically in full lounge.
All right.
A muddy Savo walking, expecting trouble, Dorian.
I think that tonight I'm the trouble, and I'll go find someone to have me.
We saw your trouble. That was interesting.
Yes. Oh, once everyone's here, I'll talk about that, but too bad. Yes. Interesting things afoot, Cypher. Can't very well have all these jumped up fuckwits in danger everyone here, though, now can we?
Of course not. I'm sure they'll be along shortly. I do believe Vanya was trying to clean Reza for some reason.
Oh, Vanya's gotten squirrely lately. Have you seen how she talks about I'm plotting against her and I've done no such thing?
Yes, well, if anybody's going to kill her, it'd be Garrett, right?
I think it'd be between Garrett and Reza.
That's more accurate.
Like, Garrett for, like, long-term, like, established reasons. Reza for, like, heat of the moment. How dare you?
It's fair.
This
I don't think
guy
it'll happen,
walks in
though.
eating an apple.
And Dorian is gonna kind of, with his offhand, he's got his flail at full length, and he's just swinging it back and forth like a pendulum, like practicing.
Try
Oh.
not to destroy the furniture, please. It's quite expensive.
Wouldn't dream of it. There's, I like this chair. I'm just kind of getting a feel for it. We go for so long without ever having to have to blade or anything of the sort. Not like the old days, is it?
You had something to say, Vanya?
I was gonna say something.
Okay, we'll say it with Callie. Yeah,
Oh, you
Reza.
got it.
Go for it.
Just like when Reza got home, she took Munchie and just took him around to all the employees to get a quick nip before they started their shift and before the tavern got open for the day. Just
Roll me a persuasion check, please, Reza.
okay. And she'll tell them that this is to help protect us and the tavern.
You were delayed by a couple of minutes due to one individual wrestling.
Francis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wrestling with you. First thinking, you'd brought food. I go, I'm not
Go
trying
ahead and
that.
try to cut into him, Francis.
Oh, okay. Hold. We're doing this. We're doing this. So, with cleaver in hand, in the kitchen, Francis looks at Munchie. Looks at you. Sure you don't mind.
Oh, we'll just see what will happen.
Oh, hang on. He hefts the cleaver up. Let's go with that one. Come on, Francis, crit. Oh!
So
Go on, yeah.
he hits Munchie, and he cleaves through the fur coating his rock hard enchanted stone body. And Munchie kind of just like looks at the cleaver and looks up at Francis and like blinks his red eyes at him and says, "Ow."
Francis looks at the cleaver, looks back at the cat, looks at the cleaver again. Goes in for a second.
Munchie doesn't move.
As the blade hits the cat, again, some of the fur's cut off, but the blade just skitters down the back of Munchie before impacting into the chopping block. Francis looks at the cleaver stuck in the wood, strokes his chin.
Can't eat that.
Munchie will kind of just look up at Francis, and his eyes get slightly wider and they glisten, and he just puts one paw on the wrist that's holding the cleaver and just like makes this eye contact with Francis, and it's just a moment.
Before?
He's trying to persuade
No.
Francis to love him.
Francis's animal handling isn't great. Let's just find out. Yeah, no, it's just, there's just this blank look from Francis as he looks at the cat. Yeah. And as he pulls his hand away, he pokes it on the nose, looks towards you, Reza. Can't eat that. Not edible, the stew. I mean, it's very hard.
We tried, Munchie. Go ahead. And then Munchie, before the finger pulls away completely from the nose, he'll just nip it very quickly.
There's a yelp, a cry from Francis as he pulls his hand back, looks at his finger that's bleeding, sticks it in his mouth. Finally, if you tame right fucking thing.
Thank you, Francis. Come on, Munchie.
It's been a while since I got Francis out of the box.
Yeah, I miss Francis.
All right, so
I was really expecting like Francis and Munchie roll initiative.
That would have been great.
there's time. Don't worry. If I had a token for Munchie, I would have done. So, as Vanya, Garrett, Cypher, and eventually Reza roll into the Shadowed Circle, at this point, you've all sat down. Garrett's persuaded Dorian not to dismantle the furniture with his flail. Room's yours.
How fast do you expect us? What's the timing of the dirt being flung to bury you? Like, what's
We'll be dead and buried 3 hours beforehand. Don't worry.
Oh, so I get plenty of time so that I can make sure that I don't get extremely dirty when helping.
Right.
Bury you? Get a shovel.
Several.
Hmm.
You have
I
done
can-
grave?
I could throw some dirt. Take half the time.
Wonderful.
Perfect.
So, what happened with your shiny friends?
Oh, the version that I'll give you is the Mobus Doctore have somehow reduced one of the Sandoval's, who was supposed to be the new governor by lineage, to a puppet trapped in his own head. Not sure how. And the Morettis and the Merchants Guild are not happy because they want to have control because it means more money for them. And that is how I would do it. We're not going to act that one out.
Appreciate it. Makes sense.
And at this point, honestly, I'm kind of thinking of just hearing out Lady Vulpescu and getting closer to the heart of the matter that way.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad idea.
Yes, it seems like all the players now are
Showing up at our
affiliated
front
to one
door.
lawn or another. Well, that and everyone seems to be affiliated to a different member of the court.
Yes. Well, my only concern with the Vulpescus is that they're touting the Koshevek, the fact that they're in any way supporting another house is concerning. It smacks of they have more plans and treachery afoot, but the Sandoval's are on their way out, and the Merdis are just worried about the jingling of coin into their pockets. I've also given them a little bit of a lead to throw them off of our scent for now.
Yeah, who have you?
The oaf that you assisted with the other day, Theodore Alton with the tanned ass. Very hard to verify accounts of him at the skinned ass or the tanned mule or something in the coin flow, supposedly being a distributor. Just figured offering up a false lead will help throw off the scent for a little while at least.
A vague one helps give you time as well, because they have to chase it down, right?
Was that not the building I hid the sample of bloodshot in?
Oh yes, if they actually go and check it out, he's proper fucked.
Couldn't happen to a more deserving thing.
That was my thought on it, yes. So, the names. It was Dr. Jurin van Rijssen. He's very, very proud about saying his entire name, with Philippe Sandoval reduced to his. In a lot of ways, he was a bit like a placeholder, and then there was from the Muradi's director, Farida, and her people all wearing yellow and gold. It's too bad.
I wonder if they send her tonight. If they send anyone at all.
That would be interesting. She seemed to be not afraid of speaking her mind. Little good it did. I'm sure that you must have seen the display passing by. The little bands of troops.
It's hard to miss 60 people in a standoff, yes, especially so colorfully and uniquely dressed.
I thought about serving them all some of that wine that we got back in the day. That bottle's just sitting there, waiting.
The temptation's almost too much for you, isn't it?
It is. It is.
That is some truly diabolical stuff.
Did you want to use that on anyone?
No one springs to mind at the moment, but there's always a chance.
Just thinking about people it would help against who actually would be able to consume it and then have it affect. It's a very short list, surprisingly.
Sadly.
These Morbus Doctore fellows, though, they are problematic and making grabs for things that are clearly beyond their reach.
They do have some snazzy masks.
They do. That is interesting enough.
Yeah, interesting that they were after anti-magic orbs in lower streets, and all of a sudden they're back in lower streets.
Seems they're creeping in from the outside. Almost like the diseases that they research, yes? Just working their way in however they can. But they can't find anywhere deeper to start. Tells me that they must be operating somewhere outside the core of the city.
I wonder how deep the relationship is between the Sandwolves and the Morbus Doctori.
Maybe
Well-
it's just initial, because Lower Streets isn't exactly high in the list of places to go, right?
Yes, the Sandoval man, Philippe, he seemed to be somehow subdued in a way that he could not resist so much.
Sounds like a
Magically or chemically?
Being that it's the Morbus Doctori, I feel like it must be something like a drug. You know?
That would make the most sense.
And this was a living and breathing man.
It seemed to be, yes. Very old.
Like
The
how
kind of... Well, you know, people in Nova Stoya do seem to age faster than reality, but I'd say 70s at least. Maybe 80s. I did try to see if he'd have a heart attack if I tried to scare him a bit.
Oh, too drugged to affect him, I'm guessing.
Seemed less like too drugged and more whatever was in there under that layer of lacquer of drugs was resilient enough that it wasn't a thing. I think that if he wasn't placid because of it, he might be a bit of a actual contender.
Curious that is subdue then.
Yes. I think that he's an unwilling participant in all this, being used like it's like a figurehead.
Unless he's just not in favour.
Potentially, but I have a feeling that if he were to vanish, any kind of actual claim the Morbus Doctori would have over the district would be moot, and they would probably be cleared out by the endless legions of the Merchants Guild. But then we would have
The Merchants Guild. Yeah.
a score of greedy pricks just lording their way over everything, and that's why I want to hear on Countess of Opuscule.
It's strange though, a meeting such as that. Someone with the name of one of the great houses wouldn't be escorted by warden.
That's true. That's
Especially
part of
since
why.
technically, don't they have the right? Because this is their lands, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
I wonder
So-
if the House Sandoval knows where their member was today. And if they are... Well, if this is a Doctore scheme that they don't know about.
All it made me jealous of was how some people can talk directly into other people's heads. And he's just looking at Carrot and Vanya as he says that.
do you
Well-
have a problem with that?
I was just saying it would be useful.
Well, one thing we will have to do is if anyone is voted the administrator besides you, Dorian, we'll have to get them under contract with Vanya. Toot sweet.
That way she can throw them out a window. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
I'm of... You know, it's been done. It's a bit played out, but worst case scenario, just seal their door and burn the place down around them.
cut.
I mean,
It's a
Novel
tried and true
Story
method.
Novel Story is a dangerous place, especially for an old man.
Mm.
I have some compounds that will make somebody unalive quite quickly. Should we need to?
What if we could concoct a detox and see what he has to say for himself?
Wait,
Which
I'm so
breath?
confused. There's so many options. Which one are we choosing?
We're debating.
We're debating.
Oh, ideas. Okay.
Before we can make a remedy, we would need to know what he's under the influence of. Magic or potion. If it's potion, ideally we'd need a sample.
I'm not very deft with things the way you are, but I'll see if I can keep an eye out, see if they're feeding him anything. I suppose all we can do is meet with whoever Moretti sends for the Merchants Guild, and then the Countess, and pick whichever tastes least like shit.
Yes, that's definitely the sentiment of the day. The least like shit.
We're not gonna. No.
What?
Like, how do we know which one tastes least like shit?
It was an expression, Vanya. It's not literal.
My goodness.
Just whenever you think something, tell yourself, no, that's not what they meant. I'm being too literal.
Well, I've just been a little distracted. I'm not gonna lie. And I hear bits and pieces, and so sometimes whenever you put them together, it's kind of hard to understand the context of literal and metaphorically. So that's why I kind of ask questions sometimes. I've got a lot going on.
Sure you do.
Well, I do. Like with my sisterhood, and I've got to identify the ones that are able to wield what I can give them, and I've been very, very concerned with Bell, and although I haven't thought about him before recently, but I'm very concerned about him now. And I've just, now I've got to think about my dress getting dirty to bury Reza and Cypher. It's just a lot. I have a lot on my plate right now.
Oh no, not the dress.
Do you not understand what these dresses mean to me, Dorian? I feel as though you don't understand. They're my mood. And I probably need to go change right now.
Before you quickly run off, Dorian, is Lord Sandoval still in office?
I believe that it was mentioned that there's supposed to be the vote coming, and so I've been doing what I can there. However, I think that the Morbus Doctore will no doubt try something, and the Morettis will try something, and the Vopascues don't have much of a presence here that I can tell of yet, but...
I'm just curious if the old man's still here. Maybe you could take Vanya with you, and she could identify if it was magically induced.
That's a point. I think that he'll be under guard of at least a dozen Morbus Doctore.
Just
And I
take
don't
her
think
in
there'll
as an
be-
assistant or
A mistress.
a mistress, yes?
Hmm.
Um,
There's like
whatever
an
works.
obvious. There's an obvious like, no, like the expression of just like no.
A best friend?
Let's not stretch the realms of possibility that far.
You're right. We tend to argue,
Cleaning
Just
lady.
but that's what best friends do.
Perfect. Cleaning lady.
interior,
lady.
like a decorator, to
What am
spruce the
I-
place up for the office.
For that office, because it's got to make sense, right? I mean, you're not.
Right. Well, my office. I don't have authority
probably
over the
does
entire
need it.
offices.
It probably does need it, right?
See,
You could
that's what I'm
use
saying.
some uplifting. I mean, maybe change your whole fire and brimstone type mentality if you just had a space that was bright and sunny.
Well,
I'm in.
Let's not
When
be
do
too
we go?
drastic. It is an act. Tomorrow, probably.
Okay. I will be ready. Where do you want to meet and what time tomorrow? Because I need specific dates and times. I mean, well, you said the date is tomorrow. What time? Like early?
Early, yes. Provided everything goes well tonight. We have to get through this evening first.
Oh, we will. I will make sure that we get through it because I need to do this. I'm going to make this a priority on my list. You need this. This is something you've been needing for a while. The office remodel.
You
Is what I'm
give
talking
someone a false pretense and they lean into it so much that they believe it themselves.
So how does this election work? Is it everyone in the district or business owners, property owners?
The core?
Dorian, I am
Yes.
leaving this entirely to you.
Well, the people, of course, are able to vote, but it's. Public opinion is one thing, but if public opinion was all that mattered, the court wouldn't have been in power here with the Sandoval's for as long as they were. So there's the appearance of democracy, but it is more than that. There needs to be more with the houses. Everything is fundamentally run by the court. And so it comes down to the actual working parts of the city and what they decide based on their predictions, essentially. So, yes, sure, everyone gets to vote, but beggars voting hardly matters compared to someone who has a business or has some kind of a stake in another district or some such.
So, basically, the populace get a vote, which is worth, roughly, let's say, a quarter of, or not even that, probably like a fifth of the vote. Business owners, those with money, those with stakes in the city, then make up the next 2/5, and then
Yes.
the court have the last say. Usually,
Yeah,
it's just Sandoval, but go on, Dorian.
Well, the thing is that in the unusual state that it's the entire court gets a say in what happens with the city for the large part. But the thing is, usually everyone just focuses on their own districts and they don't get involved anywhere else. But now we're looking at 3 individual houses of varying powers that are all trying to have a power grab and one of them's actually desperate. Like if the Sandovals lose the lower districts, lower streets, they're just basically on death's door and being in danger of being absorbed or eradicated by other houses and just being a thing of the past. So that makes them potentially dangerous. But the thing is that their presence here doesn't even seem to be really the Sandovals as much as the Morbus Doctori using somebody as a puppet. So yeah, it would come down to if anyone in the court feels strongly about it, and then like their connections, obviously, and then the people that pay tithe and tribute and actually feed into the whole amalgamation, like that would be a thing they can consider. And but like public opinions, like we live in a like despotism. There's public opinion is like fucking trivial to these people. They do not care. Like the people in lower streets are like cheap food to the ruling class. They're just, I
wouldn't even say they're food. It's just dog shit on their boots if they're outside the wall.
Yes, they're really on the outside. So it's yeah. So like you said, it's like at least 30% goes is just what the court wants for their politics, and then another 30% that would be where's the money come from, and then it'd be 20% like probably just convenience, and then 10% would be what do people think, like what do the people see, what's the public image, how like what's the morale going to be.
Yeah. Is there enough people backing this so that there aren't any riots and we have to send in valuable resources and wardens to quell any unrest?
Pretty much, yeah. And like the public opinion is something that he's been pushing, but it's like he already knows that it doesn't really matter, because if it mattered, there wouldn't have been a governor that was flying around eating random people at night. It's yeah, that's pretty much how it is.
Marvelous. So, in the respect of influencing the outcome, there's not a lot we can do, because public opinion's well and good. People will vote where we tell them to. Businesses round the slums, I dare say, if we had a word in the right ears, they would follow our lead. But the power that makes the decisions, the court.
So we need
The court.
whoever we join up with to align with our vote. Because we can use public opinion and their opinion to weigh against the others.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I should say most of the people on Market Row who keep this place running are in good favor with the folly. And I think that that's probably fairly secure. The only danger there would be if the people from the Merchants Guild could start throwing massive amounts of coin at them. And that's a danger. That's why I think we should hear what Countess Volpskird's her plans are.
Yes. She's the only one that's directly tried to contact us. It would be polite, if nothing else, to hear what she has to say.
And I get to wear my new dress.
Precisely. Probably best not to scorn her, and she's a bit eccentric compared to the other members of the court.
We're all a bit eccentric.
And Dorian just goes back to like watching the flail. He's just trying to gently spin in a circle away from anything that costs money to replace.
Maybe we should put you in the pit at some time soon, just to work out those frustrations.
Honestly, probably not the best idea. Just because it would make things complicated.
You know, behind the entrance doors at the bottom of the pit, there's some training dummies made out of wood. You could just go down there and beat on them as much as you.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, keeping what we do out there and behind closed doors separate from what I do here as potential future governor and everything else, it's just a lot of balancing, so I'm not too bothered. I'm still fairly pleased with the other night.
We all left alive and upright for the unalive party.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And any fight you can walk away from is a good fight.
True enough.
So unless anyone has anything else to bring to the group, we could start preparing for this evening.
Okay, I'm gonna go get changed.
Yeah. Wear something you care less about.
Hmm.
Don't really have anything like that.
You don't have to worry about that part. You're not getting buried.
Yeah, it's just wear something unobtrusive.
Black.
Don't own anything black,
I totally borrowed a black dress from you once. Of course you do.
and you ruined it.
I
Vanya,
had it.
you have the Troubadour's Finery. It can be whatever you want it to be. Remember?
But it's what I want it to be. I don't want it to be black.
In this
Then
instance, you do.
You want this mission to fail, then, is what you're saying. You're not being a team player.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Well,
fetch a
listen.
shovel.
Okay.
Do I get a shovel?
Do you want to do manual labor?
Well, I thought I was helping dig.
You can if you want.
I mean, I don't have to if you don't want me to, but I can try. No. Yes. No. I'll just, if somebody needs me, I'll just stand there, and then they can say, "Hey, I need you," and then I can borrow their shovel.
Okay. You supervise.
I think I would be amazing at that, actually.
I'm sure you would.
So I'm going to go and change out of my sparkly, nice business owner attire
Yeah.
into some very dark, assassin-y type attire.
Oh, edgy. I love it.
Oh yeah, we're talking face mask under my hood and everything. We're going full edgelord.
All right. So, with everyone off to make preparations for the meeting, shall we call a quick BRB whilst everyone's gathering shit?
Yes, because my teeny tiny bladder is very, very full.
All right.
And I drank quite a bit of cider tonight. So
Yes, we will be but a moment, folks. Oh, thank you for the raid, by the way. Finally got round to it. I appreciate it. Welcome in to everyone. And for those who have stuck around, at least, it's another deep lore session. Stuff's happening. I'm stirring the pot. It's good times. But yeah, we'll be right back. I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Down. Oh. Cheers, does. Appreciate it. All right. Give everyone a few more moments.
Some full bladders there. Bladders? Bladders.
Doctore, it's been a while since we've seen those guys.
Yeah, now I know what you were giggling about earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What's it been? 40 episodes? 50?
I've returned.
Welcome back. Just when you least expect it, the Morbus Doctore.
Nobody expects the Morbus
No.
Doctor.
You beat me to what I was about to say.
All right. So, over the next half an hour or so, you all begin to gather up the tools necessary, make any final preparations. Is there anything anyone wishes to say or bring forth since you've had a minute to think about it?
I do want to say that Munchie is now prowling the tavern and doing his job.
Excellent. I will get a token with some stats for Munchie for next episode.
Okay.
All right. So, with that said then, evening rolls around. And with all of you in your ninja garb, your edgelord assassin gear blackened out, apart from Dorian, who's probably in full plate at this point, or is full armored get up.
Yep, full armor, helmet on. Just gonna. Yep, that's it.
You begin to make your way out of the Baron's Folly in the direction of Malmstown. I would assume you're taking the back routes rather than going past the administration office.
Yeah.
All right. 45 minutes to an hour passes as you make your way through lower streets into Malmstown. You reach the designated meeting point, and here with shovels in hand. Well, who's doing what?
Reza is going to lie down on the ground and say, "This is about the size it needs to be."
Dorian's gonna basically take a scoop out just above and just below, the length of her body, and let her get out of the way. And he's just gonna basically just shovel as quickly as possible.
Wait, Dorian. Wait, Reza, lay back down. You didn't take the sides for the width.
I'll just make it 3 feet. It'll be fine.
Yes, it's fine.
I was set to supervise.
No, you weren't.
What is the point if you don't listen to me when I'm giving guidance?
We didn't ask you to supervise.
I'm fairly certain I remember somebody saying that I was allowed to supervise.
Well, you can put that on my review.
And it will be going in your review, both of yours.
You're not the boss of me.
Dorian's just digging. He's just gonna dig and try to get like a couple feet down, so like there would be enough space for someone to lay there and have enough dirt over them that it's obvious that there's no person there, or not obvious that there's a person there rather.
Should you take a break occasionally and let Reza get in there to see if it's deep enough?
It's alright, I've buried bodies before.
Oh, a professional. Okay, I didn't know that I was dealing. So, Reza, that's a bit scary.
No, not really.
No. So every once in a while, he's gonna step in and like when it's about knee deep, he's like, "All right, that should be." Well, actually, at this point, be more like 3/4 of the way up to his knee. Just that should be about it.
Yes, we want 6 inches or less of dirt covering me.
All right, we'll go a little shallower then.
If you can do a little bit, yes, perfect. If you put that little hump there, it'll support my lower back. Perfect.
Cypher's looking over at their hole is like, wait, what?
You want me to contour a grave for
No,
you?
I've got it. I've got it. You just gave me the idea the way you moved the dirt just then.
But perhaps, you know, if you want to wait face down, I should dig out some holes for your chest.
Would you like a pillow? I could probably.
No, I'm
find
going to
some
wait
fabric
face
and
up.
sew a
Thank
pillow.
you. I've got this mask. And she pulls out like a piece of black silk that is like a mask. Puts it on and lays down in the grave and kind of like scooches around and like wiggles and like piles some dirt up under her knees and behind her back to get like all comfy. And she's like, all right, bury me.
Dorian, what about a box? Maybe put a box over her head, because then, like,
No.
then she won't. It won't feel so claustrophobic with it being.
I
over
don't
her
feel
face.
claustrophobic, I'm dead.
Dorian is just going to start shuffling. No, I don't think it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
So,
put it on my review.
So, Reza, you're getting covered in mounds of dirt as Dorian's digging away. Vanya stood off to one side. If nothing else, Vanya, at least you're not the one getting covered in dirt.
She's just trying to be helpful, like to make things a little bit more comfortable and, you know, like roomy in there for Reza. Nobody's listening, though.
Roomy, we're getting buried underground.
We can still have a level of comfort.
Going to be quiet for 2 hours. It's going to be divine.
It's a hole in the ground, not a love hotel. Let's carry on.
Oh, it will not be quiet.
Reza gives Garrett a... No, she can't. She's buried.
She's buried.
Reza
Vanya-
is blessed not to be able to hear Vanya anymore.
No.
Yes.
As Reza gets kind of covered,
Oh.
Vanya's gonna cast telepathic link on her and ask her, "Are you okay? Are you comfortable?"
Is all she hears, with Reza humming to herself, Ipanema girl, very loudly.
Vanya will check in periodically with Reza and Cypher throughout the 3 hours to make sure that they're okay.
And Dorian's going to look at like where Garrett's standing, and he wants to kind of put the hole for Cypher a little ways back, so it like he's trying to guesstimate like where someone would approach from, and he's trying to just dig that third hole like in a spot where Cypher would arise behind like other people, so he wouldn't be directly next to anyone who might want to harm him.
While you're digging the hole, Garrett's just fiddling with something in his pack. And he's got his tools out and he's just making a little adjustment here and a little adjustment there.
Now, Reza can't fall asleep, even though it's a nice, peaceful hole. She's awake.
And he's not at all avoiding digging a hole by fiddling with something in his back. But
Wow, okay.
All right. Half an hour passes, and at this point, both Reza and Cypher are buried in their shallow graves in the field. Garrett, Vanya, Dorian, what are you three up to?
the live portion of the group. Vanya, Dorian, would you like to pick a dwelling to hide in? Preferably one where you can see me, but you will hear me.
Yes. And didn't you say that I needed to be like within maybe 30 feet of
You can't be within 30 feet.
Oh, you're right. We
Wide
can't move
open
these
field.
buildings. I guess I need to be in one that I can get accessible pretty quickly. So maybe one that's like adjacent to you.
Closest building would probably be about 120 or so feet away.
That one. The one that's about 120 feet.
Mhm. Stay in the shadows, back away from the window. I'd rather than you not be spotted. We did say alone, after all.
Dorian's gonna start trudging towards the nearest building where, like, the door or there's a window facing where Garrett's gonna be, and he's just gonna go in and get against the back wall and try to basically set up where he can, like, sit down, just not have to move around, not be standing and walking around the place, and try to post up and just wait.
All right. At this point, there's about an hour before the supposed meet. Cypher, how are you in your hole?
Kind of like a limp ragdoll. Didn't get comfy like Reza. He was hoping it would be like the water. He enjoyed the sensation of being in the water. It's nothing like that. So he's unimpressed by it. He's like, it's not the same. So he's upset about the sensation. He was hoping it'd be nice, but it's not.
Reza, how's your hole?
It is ergonomic
Yeah.
and as comfortable as a hole in the ground can be for a dead girl.
Good. Keep yourself busy.
I'd say she probably goes into like the half meditative state that elves take sometimes.
All right. Vanya, how's it in your hovel?
Well, she's found kind of a large shadowed place and has been sprucing it up a little bit where it's not as dirty, but only in the area that she's gonna be in. So she's been occupying herself, making it where she can like maybe sit down or have a chair or something in the shadows, but it's comfortable for her, but it's clean.
Nice. Dorian, your shadowed corner. How
He's
are you
gonna
settling
just
in?
he's just gonna set up one of the chairs in the hovel, like make sure it's not gonna buckle under his weight. And if it is, then he's just gonna sit like on the hearth of like the fire place without lighting anything up. He's just gonna sit there and just watch Garrett for any kind of reaction or anything like that to signal. I'm just checking his inventory real quick.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna have a torch at the ready in case he needs to bring one out for some reason. He just has that in his mind. It might be useful to like draw some attention if necessary away from Garrett, so Garrett can slip away if needed.
Okay. So, last but not least, Garrett, you are stood in an open field. What are you up to?
I'm stood unnaturally still, almost blending in with the darkness. I've got a face mask over my face, just ending just below my eyes. Across my eyes, I've blackened my features with some soot, and then pulled my hood over my face. So to anyone looking at me in the dark, all they're going to see is two eyes looking back at them. I then take the thing I was tinkering with and just hang it on my belt, as I've constructed a smoke bomb for emergency. And then finally...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
No. Go on.
And finally I cast Sonic Powers, Sonic Whisper.
And that links everyone to you.
Links everyone to me.
5 minutes pass, Garrett, and eventually, as you're looking down the road in the direction of lower streets, you would see light starting to reflect off of some of these slick cobblestones and puddles on the floor. Not that of a lantern. It's got a somewhat greenish hue to it, before eventually a lone figure steps into view, making her way down the road. You would see a long, brightly yellow robe, but with this greenish, shimmering barrier around her that extends about 10 feet away from her. And she's just, step by step, making her way down the road towards the meeting point.
At this point, Garrett will just shuffle on his feet a bit, make it look like he's just stretching his legs. Doesn't need to, but he wants the person to know he's there and on his own.
There is a brief nod, and as the person begins to reach the edge of the field, you would see her take a step forward, but just as her foot is about to touch the mud, she begins to levitate ever so slightly, by about 3 or 4 inches off the ground.
I just watch. Half smile on my face that can't be seen. And I think to myself, it's only a little dirt. I wait for her to get within distance so she could hear me speak without shouting.
She stops about 20 feet away from you. This shimmering bubble around her still in effect as she bows her head in greeting. Good day, or should I say, good eve. I am Director Farida of the Merchant Guild, and if I may be so bold as to inquire as to your name.
I think for the time being, I will just be known as the Brewmaster.
Very well, Brewmaster. Take it. Well, your little message certainly ruffled a few feathers in Coinflow.
Well, more than feathers were ruffled in the slum. There were quite a few deaths.
Yes, a shame on both fronts. She motions a hand out towards you, Garrett, to speak.
My lady, you're the one that is looking for me.
Well, the query would be more of Brewmaster of, I can only assume, the Bloodshot. Yes?
Correct.
What would it take for us to relinquish the road of their deal with you and take on that deal in their stead?
Well, the road have been good and staunch business partners up to now. I'm sure if you wanted to buy, you would know how to contact them and they could deliver to you.
Come now. You really expect us to deal with middlemen? No. Whatever deal the road are offering you, I dare say, confidently, happily, we can double it, if not more. This little bloodshot endeavour of yours has, well, certainly swept through the upper districts. There is great profit to be made, and one that I assure you the road are certainly capitalising on. Answer me this, just for curiosity's sake. How much are you getting from the road?
Remember how much I can't think how much we actually sell it for. More than enough to satisfy my need. I am a humble man, after all.
I see. Of all the places, though, it seems that this bloodshot is being moved out of the north, out of Polter. I don't know how long that's going to be a viable option for you and your product. So whilst you may be humble, it would be good to have a reserve of cash, a kitty perhaps. Things are moving in this district, and one way or another, we at the Merchant Guild will either profit from it or no one will profit from it. It's inevitable, sadly. Hence why we and I was sent here to broker this agreement, or at least I hope we can come to an agreement.
I think for the time being, I will take it under advisement.
You would see her brow arch questioningly beneath the glow of this green-hued barrier that's around her as she just clicks her tongue.
And should I wish to make a deal with you going forward? Well, you know I can send you a message.
Roll me an intimidation check, Garrett.
I wasn't trying to intimidate.
I mean, that's...
That's how she took it.
Yeah. Yes. Using our own messaging system. Intriguing. And most would not have the nerve to bite back, whereas you have. Now, I would very much hate to see a budding entrepreneur such as yourself stamped out, so be it. If you wish a little time, then we at the Merchant Guild are gracious, giving, generous. We'll give you all the time you need. But I assure you, no bloodshot will get into the city from this day forth. Every tavern in this district will be searched, as we have permit handed down from the court. Larders raided, warehouses turned over. I'm sure at some point, someone, somewhere, even perhaps here in Malmstown, we will find something. Let's just hope that by the time we do, you have come to your senses and saw a more profitable avenue to step down. Yes?
Well, I'd like to thank you for meeting with me tonight. Any messages we send to you will be marked as bloodshed, so you know it's from me.
Farida offers a bow in understanding. Very well. I wish you a pleasant eve, brewmaster, and may gold grace your pockets in vast amounts and your worries be naught but, well, She doesn't even finish the sentence, so she's already got her back to you and started to walk off.
Director, do keep to the left side of the path. The mud is quite slippery, and I should hate for you to spoil your finery.
I'm going to ask for... In fact, while this is going on, Reza, Cypher, you're underground, you know nothing. Dorian, Vanya, you've seen this exchange, you know, perhaps not heard the words unless Garrett's been...
I've been transmitting to everyone.
Okay, so everyone's aware. So Dorian and Vanya, is there anything you two wish to do from your shadowed corner?
I'll go first. The green shroud that's over her, would Vanya know what that is?
It's certainly possible. Roll me an Arcana check. You certainly do know what that is. That is a spell called Anti-Life Shell. An Anti-Life Shell is a shimmering barrier that extends out 10 feet and will basically stop any living creature from getting within 10 feet of her.
Oh, wonderful.
That would suck for her.
That would have sucked for her.
I knew exactly what it was because I had that spell in the last campaign, and I was like, "Oh, just give me a reason to pop out and walk right through that bitch."
Yes, so
But
that's...
magic
So,
magic would have went through it though, right?
Yeah.
If I'm reading that right. Okay.
Yeah. Yep, you can still shoot into it, and magic. That's just to stop, living creatures from getting close. The other thing is, with the roll of 26, you would also have noticed on her through the spell, through the anti-life shell, that she would also have a slight shimmer to her, indicating she would have mage armor up.
Would I?
Go
Oh,
on.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, go on.
Would I have felt her like concentrating or casting any kind of other magic at that time, like maybe like a
So
detect magic or like some kind of like sensing or something?
the only thing I would say is that anti-life shell typically requires concentration, as does levitate, and you saw her levitating. So that gives two possible options. One, she is a very highly skilled mage, or two, she has some magical doobries and items in her possession.
Probably the latter.
But as for
Would
her
we-
trying to detect you, no, I would say you get the impression that she's. There was enough magics in effect there to warrant caution from her.
Were there any other like items on her person that would have stuck out?
Yeah, it was dark. You're 120 feet away, and she's wearing a long, yellow robe that covers most of her. So sadly not.
She was prepared for physical attacks from like thugs or something being exploding on the ground.
Yeah. Or again, someone. This meeting, for example, someone trying to assassinate
Put a
her.
knife to her throat and
Yeah.
kidnap her or assassinate her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anything else, Vanya?
Would we have gotten a sense, like if we were looking around when that encounter happened, of any like movement, any additional people that she had brought with her?
In that case, if you're making a move towards the window, I need you to roll me a stealth check
Well,
and
hold on. No,
a perception
I meant like
check,
from the
please.
shadow. No, from the shadow
No, you
of
could just
me
see.
looking
You
around.
could just see the field.
Okay. Oh hell no, I ain't doing that solution. It's your turn, Dorian. I will screw things up.
Dorian is just sitting in place, just watching. It seems like he should. Can he surmise that it was the same person he saw earlier, based on just what he can see in
Absolutely,
there?
absolutely.
All right.
I'd have also said the name when she
Yeah.
introduced herself.
Yeah. Well, that makes her that much harder to deal with if needed. But no, Dorian's just gonna sit there. He's just gonna wait until Garrett's satisfied that they can move, basically.
So,
What if we took her prisoner? Reza thinks to Garrett.
I think if we were to do that at this stage, it would be akin to a declaration of war.
As opposed to having the house raided.
I feel sorry for anyone that tries to raid our house. They'd also have to find the entrance to the undercroft as well. Let them have their fun. we'll make sure nowhere in the slums districts is holding any bloodshot. And the fact that we met outside of the city, I would hope would give them pause to think it was coming from outside of the city.
The Follows a prime target, though. They'll come to us soon.
I would think they would come to us first. So once we get back from here, we make sure the defences are tight. The entrances to the Undercroft are well hidden. And that there's no bloodshot anywhere in lower streets.
Can we get up yet?
Would Vanya hear him say that about no bloodshot in lower
Yeah.
streets?
Yeah, everyone would hear it because it's through
Would
my
that not be suspicious if it's everywhere else? And which I know that they can't maybe afford it there, but if it's everywhere else and it's not there.
Just from
It
a
sells for golds a shot.
the only thing I will say, sort of above table, Vanya, that you would know is that there is a chance that the thanked table, in theory, should have some, because of the Merchant Guild's been focusing their efforts on the thank table. So I'll give you that for free. You know, that's one thing you all know is that there will be some bloodshot at the thanked table
Because it was a distribution center.
because it was a distribution center. Yes.
But we were never distributing in lower streets. We were never selling it in lower streets ever.
No one can afford it in lower.
Yeah.
Not only that, when they go to search Fang Table, they're going to have a surprise.
I mean, they expect to find it there, and, you know.
Who would have thought bloodshot was highly flammable? Not me.
So yeah, good thinking, Vanya. I just wanted to sort of give you that on top, just to to say that there is somewhere in the slums that will have bloodshot.
Okay. So we're going to wait half an hour or so after she's left. And I'm going to look around, see if I can see any movement anywhere.
Well, as Director Farida makes her way down this street, you all have this conversation, and as the green hue of the shield begins to fade, you then, Garrett, begin to hear crackling noises. As would Dorian. Vanya, you recognize this crackling noise to be that of spells being thrown around.
Oh, is it magic missiles?
It is indeed the sound of magic missiles crackling in the distance, and that's where we'll end tonight. We'll find out more on whether or not you investigate next week.
Dun, dun, dun.
I like the little giggle.
I mean,
Midnight. I just want to put that out. It was 10 o'clock a little while.
It was. So yeah, at that moment, the sound of spells being thrown around echoes down the streets, just as you, Garrett, say, you know, we're done. You don't get a chance to wait that half an hour. It's probably about 10 minutes or so. But, yeah. You've got... In fact, you haven't got a week. You've got 2 weeks to find out what happens, because...
Son of a bitch.
There's no Pariahs next week, because I am not available. I am not here.
Whatever shall we do?
She's going to kick a puppy.
I mean, somebody's going to get it.
So, with that, anything to say?
Good night, chat.
Goodbye, chat.
Bye.
Yeah? Oh, are we back? Who knows? I have no idea. I have no idea. It didn't like me flicking over to my stream PC. All right. But yeah, so there were no Pariahs next week. It is my wedding anniversary. So I will be in the middle of nowhere celebrating that with my wife. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for the support as always. Nice to end it on a little bit of a cliffhanger, potentially. Whether or not they investigate, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, let's try and find someone to raid, and I'll see you all in 2 weeks' time. Ta-ta for now. Oh, Durs is streaming. Let's go show Durs some love. Haha, we're coming, Durs. We're coming. Ta-ta for now, everyone.